It's time now for the Sports Objective Podcast. No talking heads, just guys who love sports. Here's Dave Richmond.
Welcome into the Sports Objective Podcast. I'm Bubba Rosenbaum, and on the show we certainly spend a lot of our time covering what are often referred to as the Big Three at East Carolina. Of course, that's football, men's basketball, and baseball. But we also like to provide plenty of coverage for all of our Pirate programs. The track and field program at ECU is one that has had a tremendous amount of success down through the years. Legendary coach Bill Carson led that program for more than 4 decades. And Kurt Kraft has done an excellent job over his 15-plus seasons at the helm. We've had Coach Kraft on the show, as well as Pirate alum and sprint relays and hurdles coach Udon Cheek, who Pirate Nation probably honestly best knows him for his popular song, Purple and Gold. One of the top, if not the top, female track athlete in East Carolina's history is Tynita Butts. Butts, who was an All-American in every season she was with the Pirates and finished second nationally in the high jump as a senior, is a part of Team USA and will represent our nation in Qatar at the World Championships in just over a week. Recently, friend of the podcast, Terry Gallaher, who was a high school track coach for nearly 3 decades in Georgia, joined me as we had the chance to catch up with Tynita from her home in Louisville. And let's go to that conversation with Tynita right now.
Well, Bubba, you know, one of the great things about our podcast is we get a chance to meet a lot of amazing people, a lot of amazing Pirates. One of the sports that I think that we don't talk enough about in general at East Carolina, and what a winning tradition, a lot of great athletes is track and field.
No doubt about it. Coach Carson, down through the years, did such a tremendous job for, about 40 years. And then Kurt Kraft, he's done an excellent job as well and has a tremendous staff. We've had him on the show. Also, assistant coach Udon Cheek. And I was actually talking to Udon Cheek here in the last few days, and someone we've wanted to have on the show anyway. And he told me now would be a good time with what she is currently accomplishing, and that is Tynita Butts, All-American in East Carolina. Tynita, welcome into the show.
Thank you. Hi, everyone.
Welcome.
How are you?
Thank you so much for having me. I'm great. I'm
usually
grocery
the guy
shopping and getting ready to go home and eat my dinner.
I was going to say we're trading places because normally I'm the guy in Walmart that's shopping for the family, and so I'll let you do that this time.
Nice. Anything you need me to pick up for you, just name it.
Exactly.
Get a gallon.
You guys need anything?
Milk. Get a gallon of milk.
All right, and some bread.
So what will dinner consist of tonight? Sticking on that strict diet with the World Championships coming up?
It's not too strict. My nutritionist, who is my husband's college friend, who's an amazing dietitian, he has been kind of lenient on some of the things that we've been eating, like baked beans and chicken. It's all under a certain amount of calories, but, you know, it feels like I'm not dieting so much the way that he has it set up. And it's so much easier this way. Because I've tried a few diets, but I feel like I'm just dying, starving. You know, it's just really tough to just, you know, put your body through all that, you know, all that discipline.
Got to keep your eye on the prize.
So, Tynita, so before we talk about your time in East Carolina, which I guess was from 2009 to, 13 or
Yes,
14? So let's talk a little about your background in track. I know you said you grew up in Georgia prior to moving to Alexandria, Virginia. So just talk about how you got involved in track, and then we'll talk about your high school career.
Oh, man. So I was that little country kid always racing the boys in the neighborhood. You know, I was just a little tomboy, still am. But
How tall are you?
I'm about 5'9" and some change, so 5'10" and a half with shoes on.
You're taller than me.
I'm taller than both my parents.
Were you skinny?
I don't know how that happened.
Were you skinny back then?
Was I skinny?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was a bone. I was to the bone. I mean,
Like,
collarbones and kneecaps. You can tell.
A beanpole.
Yeah. I realized that, you know, as a kid, I was pretty fast. I mean, during recess, I would go play football with the boys, wide receiver, as kids couldn't touch me. So, I mean, this is totally true. I was such a tomboy. And third grade, I had a teacher pass out all the community sports, the paper to sign up for the community sports. And cheerleading was one. I was like, I don't want to do that. Basketball was one. Then it said track and field. And I asked her, I said, what is track and field? She said, running. And I was like, yeah, I want to do that one. And I took it home to my mom, and she signed me up for it. So that's how I got started, And then as soon as I got out to my first couple of practices, I mean, you knew who I was. I was that girl. I didn't realize how good I was until I was winning against all the boys and all the other teams.
And when you kind of stand out from people for a particular reason or whatever, when you find something that you are the best in, it's such a great feeling.
It is. I definitely knew I was a little special. And then, I was just a sprinter at that time. I was doing the 100, 200, 50-meter dash, from the beginning. And then I think about age 10, I saw the big girls jumping over a pole, and I asked my coach, I said, what is that? I want to do that. He said, that's high jump. I said, well, I want to do high jump. And next thing I know, he's, teaching me the technique. And, when you first start out with high jump, it's the goofiest things you've ever seen. Kids at a young age just don't know what to do with their bodies. But
older kids don't either, because
man, it's just the worst. It's the funniest thing you've ever seen, especially kids crossing over from other sports. They, and you can tell when it's just pure athleticism, because they're getting so much height over the bar, but they're just so goofy.
They got that spring. It's like you got a spring in you.
Exactly, and I definitely had that spring at a young age, and next thing I know, I'm beating all the teenage girls. I mean, I'm clearing these heights easily. I cleared these heights so well that I cleared the bar and the high jump mat and fell straight to the ground. And I cleared it. I didn't even knock the bar down, and I won. It was crazy.
Learning to go vertical instead of horizontal is hard to do, because you got to transfer everything. And
I'm still having issues with that till this day. I've been through a lot of injuries. It comes with the territory. Starting so young, get a little wear and tear in your body.
Right. But anyway, would you background there? So when you got to high school, what was going on?
So I was living in Georgia, and I was still more of a sprinter than a jumper. So I'm just doing what I've always been doing. Moved from community track to middle school to high school, and I'm still dominating. These girls aren't touching me.
Were they? Did somebody teach you how to come out of the starting blocks?
I mean, I did AAU track, and my summer coach from Savannah Silver Cheetahs, shout out. Coach Jinx, he taught me a little bit, but it wasn't a lot. It was just, I'm kind of just mimicking my older teammates, kind of just watching them, and just, this is my first time ever really using blocks, like for real. And when I got to high school, I was still awkward out of the blocks, not coming out correctly, coming straight up.
Right.
Like a deer.
And the thing about it, as you get to that elite level, what becomes the most important thing in a sprint is that first step.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, even in high jump and long jump, it's those first few steps, those first 5 steps. Super important. My husband tells me that all the time.
How many steps do you take in your high jump approach?
In college, I took about 11. I take about 10 now.
Right.
I used to do a half approach all through college, short approach. Now I don't even do that anymore. There's really no point because I don't have those same needs anymore.
Yeah.
So it takes me a little while, to kind of, how can I say, to warm up, I guess. I'm not as much of a power jumper as I used to be. I definitely need that longer stride, that longer approach to build up that momentum. When I was in college before my injury happened, that it was a piece of cake to kind of just spring up like that.
Tynita, my daughter has a question. She's shy, but she says she loves you, and she wanted to ask how can she get started in track and field? I was trying to, because she said it's running, and I said yes. So she ran into other rooms, so I wanted to ask that question for her.
Yeah, she's 5.
5
right, Dave?
Yeah, 5 years old.
What's her name?
Mackenzie.
Mackenzie? Is she listening?
Hang on. Yeah, let me put it on. Yeah, she's listening.
Hi, Mackenzie. She's like, I don't want to talk.
She's in another room, but she'll definitely hear the recording of it, that interview. So, but
okay, well, I mean, to all those little kids out there who want to run and do track, I mean, let them do it. I mean, I was a hyper kid, and if you want your kid to come home a little calmer and get the hay, let them burn off some energy. I think it's a great sport to build a shy kid's personality. I was that shy kid. I was that goofy shy kid, and it definitely helped build my character as well in life with, defeat, rejection, and things like that. It's a beautiful sport.
And high jump is a sadistic sport.
Yes, it is. It really is. You're not wrong about that. It's a love-hate relationship, and they could say that about every event, but with high jump,
you're going to eventually fail. You
can't
keep succeeding.
You end on a fail.
That's the toughest part.
And you just, you gotta just let it go. You gotta move on to the next thing. And the good thing about, me competing in high school is that I wasn't just doing high jump. I didn't just only do high jump until after college. Because when you're doing multiple events, you can kind of compartmentalize that mindset. Like, okay, I'm done with this. Forget about it. Let's move on to long jump now. Okay, done with that. Let's move on to the 200. And if you're pissed off or mad about not doing well, then you can burn that energy out on the next event.
Yes, and some of the events, you're better off not being in that state of mind. And that's the tough part, too. I don't know, in high school here in Georgia, we had 16 events. And so when relays and then all the field events, we started girls pole vault a few years back. And so when you start coaching each individual event, you realize that you don't have time for that. So and it's kind of like that with you at the event. When you're doing different events, you have a certain time, and you got to prepare yourself and like you said, compartmentalize for each event. And one thing you learn from track is how to talk to people. And how to take care of yourself.
Oh, preach! Yeah, absolutely, and that is so true.
Right, because you're the one that's got to do it, and that's what I would tell my. You
kind of got to find your little clique, or girls in high school used to say I never talked to anyone, and they thought I was stuck up until they actually came to talk to me and they realized I was just shy. I was like, most of the time girls think I don't necessarily think they thought I was mean, but like that I was too good to talk to and stuck up, so they just didn't go out of their way to get to know me.
And so did you sometimes not out jump them too much?
Oh yeah, and that was another thing, me always kicking butt out there, that was the problem. That was a problem.
So
I didn't have too many friends growing up.
And females have a different mindset about that. You know, their feelings. Yeah.
My mom used to always say it's lonely at the top, and it's true. You know, when you first start out, you kids who don't understand that it's not to take it personal when you lose.
Right.
You know, that the other person isn't out to get you. You know, kids will be kids, and it's how they're raised and their thought process and everything. But I was never that kid to say, okay, this person's beating me, I'm not going to talk to them. I'm usually I was usually like, oh man, I want to go talk to her. She's awesome. What can I learn from her, you know? But kids just don't think like that.
Right. And then we have a sports center mentality today.
Oh yeah.
If you can't be the highlight, you don't want to do it. And and it's so hard because it's not just the athlete. You got to have a support system.
Absolutely.
And if it's a negative support, you know, that's how you're going to be. So, it's refreshing to hear you, talk about things. So, were you, I think I've read, were you a high school, like national champion or All-American or something?
I was the high school national champion in the high jump and long jump indoor.
How high did you high jump in feet?
I jumped 5'10" and a half and 20 foot 1 inch, and I think maybe 20 foot 1 inch and a half. I can't really remember exactly, but I mean, I was literally 18 years old jumping 20 feet, and I've coached college women who can't even jump that. And I'm just like, okay, I might have been a freak of nature, but I was definitely a freak of nature.
Well, it was like when I ran, and I'm not making a racial thing, but I would often be the only white boy out there. And I would be in the center lane, and you know what that means.
Oh, yeah. Black kids didn't like that, I bet.
And most of them, as I got to, it became, after a while, they knew who I was. But early on, it would be, I'm in there, and I was going to run a 14.5. And so I was consistent. And other kids didn't quite understand that, but in the high hurdles, everybody takes the same number of steps. It's just a matter of getting off the hurdle. But it gets to the point where you just, you have to learn humility.
Oh yeah.
And,
definitely.
I believe
that's a big word. That's a very important character trait for track and field, humility, because it's so individualized. Yeah, you want to try out for teams and things like that, the further you go past, college and stuff, but it's so individualized. It's all about you. People say like, oh, I want to beat this person. No, I want to beat me. When I'm out there on that field, I want to beat myself because I'm the hardest person on me. I put the most pressure on me. No one else does.
Right.
It's me.
Right. So what got you to East Carolina?
Well, actually, can you rephrase that question?
How did you get there? What was your path to East Carolina?
Okay. How did I get to East Carolina? Well,
did you know about it before you got out of high school?
I have never heard of East Carolina until the day I met Coach Kurt Kraft.
Okay.
I believe, I think he was kind of staring at me at a track meet, and I thought he was being a weirdo. Sorry, Coach. I thought he was being a weirdo. I'm this shy kid, and track, man, you get some weirdos. So I just thought he was one of those guys. And then my coach he's like, no, that's a recruiter from a college. I'm a small town girl. I never really seen myself going to college. My mom was a single parent. I was going to go to the military. So thinking about college was just like, wow. Some guy's looking at me to go to his school, and he was just so sweet. I talked to him a little bit after I was done, and he's so soft-spoken, and that's what I needed. He knew exactly the type of person that I was. He was watching me.
That's right.
He was studying me, and he told me that he was at D1 college and that he wanted me to take a visit, and he really liked what he saw. And actually, they came to my home for a home visit.
Great.
And my mom made me put on a dress. I was like, Mom, don't make me put on a dress. And she made me do it. And she served these cheese and crackers for them. I had to be on my best behavior. She didn't want me to embarrass her in front of these people.
Right.
And they just honestly, they really worked hard on just keeping me happy. I wouldn't say I was poor, but we didn't have a home landline. So they would call me out of school. They would call me out of class to my guidance counselor office, and they would talk to me there. And they would just ask me how I was doing, how my practices are going, things like that. And they just show that they care so much about me, not just, my talents, but me as a person. Coach Blaney was a big part of the reason why I went there, because, he's a God-fearing man, and I'm Christian. I grew up in a Christian home, and, man, he's just a sweet guy. I gave him the nickname Gandhi. So I told him I was going to get him a Letterman jacket with the nickname Gandhi on the back. He's such a peaceful man and so protective. He's like my grandpa, and he just loves on you all the time. He wants to see you do well. And me meeting other coaches who are really just like assertive and just straightforward, it was a little too much for me at the time. He's being so shy, and I met some other coaches. I'm not going to say where, but met them at track meets, and they shook my hand, and they were like, "We want you, Miss Butts. We want to recruit you." And I'm like, "Who the heck are you? Don't know who you are." First of all. And, Coach Kraft and Blaney just were very diligent on how they approached me. And I never realized how sweet-souled I was, just so innocent until I got older, and I was like, wow, I really needed that.
That seems to a lot to me, because I came from a single-parent home myself. And, going there, you felt wanted, you felt like you were part of something.
Absolutely.
It wasn't a clique. It was a down home. Everybody, it was inclusive, and that's the East Carolina I know.
Yes, still is. I mean, I had maybe like 2 other visits lined up, and when I got to Coach Kraft's house and I saw him grilling with his shoes off in the garage, he was like, "Tynita, Miss Vernita, come on in." And his dog came running around, his cute little dog, and I love animals, so I just got me a puppy. But that's another story. But after I saw that, I was just like, wow, he's such a cool guy. He's so laid back. He's so sweet. And I looked to my mom and I whispered to her, I was like, "Mom, this is where I want to go. This is where I'm going." I didn't even take those other visits. I was just like, nope, I'm coming here.
So, Tynita, that's one of the things I was going to ask you coming out of high school. I know, according to your bio on ECU Pirates, you were the top-ranked high jumper nationally and then second for the long jump during your senior season. So talk a little bit about, in addition to East Carolina, some of the other programs that were interested, because I'm sure there had to be several.
Yeah. I didn't know how hot of a commodity I was. I just wasn't very informed on how special I was. Until just, later down the road, I realized I just had it going on. But, there were a few schools that were wanting me. They sent me a few questionnaires, LSU, Michigan, UVA, VTech. There were quite a few that eventually told me they were trying to get in touch with me after I had already signed with ECU. But I had a different head coach at the time at my high school, and there were some things revealed about the head coach's personality towards me. And I found out that I actually had letters withheld from me. So, I never had anyone treat me so wrongly like that.
I've seen that. It still goes on with recruitment track.
Yeah. And, I come to find out that the coach really didn't like me too much. And, I felt like I was a good person, a sweet girl, worked hard. I might have complained a little more than I do now. I had so much talent that I didn't have to put as much hard work in as my teammates. And that was a thing that I had to figure out as I got older, like my work ethic. Right. It just came so naturally that when I got to the bigger level, I was like, okay, I've never lifted before until college. I really got to put in some work. I don't even know how to squat. I don't know how to hang clean. I don't know how to do pull-ups. I mean, I'm just a string being, and now I got to learn work ethic all over,
Right.
So I think that might have been an issue that was there, or a little bit more. But some of those schools were definitely chasing me. Norfolk was wanting me to go there, and UConn.
Did South Carolina recruit you?
I don't remember getting anything from South Carolina. Honestly, they had quite a few great jumpers.
Right.
Florida, I really wanted to be a Gator. I wanted to be a Gator so bad. But, I got around the team, and I didn't click well with them. They were kind of a little overly confident for my taste.
Right.
Along with LSU, and Miami wanted me as well.
How about
what'd you say?
Georgia?
I would have loved to go to Georgia, but I didn't hear anything from Georgia either. You'd be surprised. Right? That could have been the letter that was withheld from me.
Now why would they not offer you?
Exactly. I grew up there, come on.
I had a 400-meter girl that signed with them. And,
I was shocked too. I would have loved to go there.
Because you finished high school in what year?
What'd you say?
What year did you finish high school?
09.
Oh, okay. I don't see why, because I don't see why they did. I bet you that got it.
Man, I can't tell you. I was just as shocked. There were a lot of schools I wanted to hear from. I literally emailed the coach at Florida 3 times, asking him and telling him I wanted to go to their school, and I never got a reply back.
Well,
actually, I got a reply back from a woman saying, we'll be in touch, and I never heard anything from her.
Well, we're glad. We're very glad you are a pirate.
Me too.
You're a pirate for life. You do know that.
Yes, for life.
Yeah,
purple and gold. Tatted on my chest.
So, Tynita, coming in 2009, your freshman season, that's what you had a tremendous one. Conference USA Freshman of the Year. You won the conference title in the high jump, and then you also earned All-American status, placing 7th. I think it was a 3-way tie for 7th at the outdoor championship. So, talk about your first time competing for the Pirates.
Wow, I was nervous. I mean, I had never been so nervous in my life. I literally told myself, I said, okay, these are grown women. These women, I'm a freshman, and I'm about to step on this track with these big girls, big women. So you better prepare yourself, Ty, because you may go out there and get your head busted.
It's intimidating.
So, you know, I definitely stepped out with that mindset, you know, feeling like they're going to show me. And as soon as I, you know, jumped my big jump, I was like, wow, like I'm really good. I can hang with these women, if not better, you know. It wasn't so bad after all. And then, you know, I actually made a few friends that first year from other teams, and we still to this day cheer each other on, you know, but I, like my mom says, is lonely at the top. Once I came in to high jump at a certain height, my teammates were already done. So it was very lonely out there.
What height did you start at, or do you start at now?
Well, I used to start around 5'5", 5'6". Now I come in at 6 feet.
Oh, that's intimidating. When you do
that is very intimidating, even to myself.
When they know you're waiting to jump and they're already struggling.
They're already done, yeah. And, you know, it made me a little sad, to be honest. It made me sad because I felt like my older teammates were kind of not necessarily jealous, maybe a little envious, but I know they worked so hard to want to do the same thing, and I was just... But,
you know, in the high jump, you're only good for so many jumps. So if you do start lower, you're only hurting yourself.
To a degree. For some people, it's good to get those lower heights to work on that technique and get a little warmed up.
Yep.
But if you're healthy, if you've got knee, ankle issues and everything, you're better off starting a little higher, as high as you can possibly get over.
That's interesting.
Yeah, because I was forced to learn how to start higher, because when I was being coached by Blaney, you know, I qualified for USA Championships, I think in 2012 and 2011, something like that, before the trials, before the Olympics. And I mean, I was also nervous there too. I'm always nervous, even till now, but my coach wouldn't tell me. He wouldn't tell me how high the bar was, the opening bar. And I cleared it on the first attempt, and he was just like, "Do you want to know how high that bar was?" And I was like, "How high?" He was like, "It's about 5'10" and a half.
Oh, God.
And I'm like, "There's no way I just did that." And I normally come in around about 5'6", and I shocked myself, you know. So I mean, that first year was an eye opener for me, just how talented I was, and just seeing that I had a future with it, you know.
What was it like the first time you cleared a height higher than you, taller than you?
Oh man, it was scary.
That's something hard to get people to understand.
Well, when you think about it, like you're staring at this bar. I mean, there have been a few times where I literally have walked up to the bar, stood under it, and I was like, I thought to myself, no way, not going to happen. And behold, it does. And then when I heard, you know, my coach was like, one day you're going to be clearing that height. He's talking about 6 feet my freshman year.
Right.
And I was just thinking to myself, that's insane to even be able to say that I clear 6 feet. You know, that's a milestone right there. And freshman year indoor, I do it. I cleared it. Third attempt.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's
great. That was kind of my thing back in college. In high school, I would clear things on my last attempt. I don't know. Maybe I just do well under pressure.
Well, yeah, the thing about it is that if you think about it, and I used to do a little drill for my athletes, and you go up with your lead leg, your knee, when you drive that knee up, you can knock off 7 feet.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just a mindset, because your body's higher. In fact, you can jump higher. I'm gonna tell you right now, you can jump higher.
And you know, it's funny because my competition, my rival, I think she was about like 5'4". and we were going neck and neck every season. I think she went to, I don't want to say Ole Miss or Mississippi. No. She's gonna kill me if she ever hears this.
Dave, you hear that? You gotta edit this out.
The school was yellow and black, and this just shows you how
Southern Mississippi.
Southern Mississippi, yes.
Oh gosh.
Yep. I knew it was Mississippi in there somewhere. Yeah. I was close. So yeah, I mean, even her teammate to this day, Tori Bowie, she's an Olympian now.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah, I used to compete against Tori and her, you know, all the time. Tori in the long jump and her KJ in the high jump. Wow. But yeah, I'm just looking at her. I'm like, this girl's got bunnies. That's what we say. Bunnies like springers.
Mm-hmm. So she's
got the hops, you know. And I'm like, I'm taller than her, and I'm struggling over this height. Well, she's defeating me. She beat me. We ended up clearing 6 feet. But she won off of a miss. She had less misses than me.
Consistency. You got to be consistent.
Consistent, very consistent. And that's one thing, college, I was having so many track meets back to back that I really got some good volume, you know, in my training.
Right. But you think about all that work you do, all that work you put in, is you may actually take 3 jumps.
Mhm. And that's another thing that helped prepare my first year was that, you know, my first time ever lifting weights. You know, that made me tremendously stronger. I never lifted weights in my life. You know, I did an AAU track, you know, just, you know, those little old weights sitting out behind the stadium.
Yeah. Just
getting some curls in and whatnot and some abs with it, but nothing like college lifting. I mean, my strength coach was a football coach, and I mean, my thighs were ripped. My thighs were so strong. I mean, I went out there and it was just so easy. It really was.
But you have to be careful and not get muscle bound.
Yeah. But you know, I my technique wasn't the smartest type of way to jump. I was a power jumper. I didn't know. You know, Coach Blaney's a great coach, don't get me wrong. And my high school coach, he was great with what he had. And that's all I had. He was a distance coach who decided to, you know, go out of his way to come coach me because our jump coach didn't want anything to do with me.
Right. What I learned about the high jump when I tried to coach it is I had a kid doing 6'4", and so I thought, wow, you know, I can get to work with him close, and we'll get on up there. Well, once I started coaching him, I got him down to 6 feet.
Oh no!
So I told him to forget about everything I'd said.
Oh my goodness!
And I scheduled track meets with teams that had really good high jumpers. And I told him to watch them.
And that's all you can do. And Coach Blaney, I asked him one day, I said, have you ever done track? He said, no. Yeah. I said, why are you such a good coach?
Because sometimes the best coach is the one that gets out of the way.
And you know what? You're right. I felt like we had more of a partnership than a coach and athlete relationship. It was definitely more of a partnership. If I felt like I needed a little more from him, he'd give a little more for me. If I felt like I needed him to kind of back off, he knew when to back off.
Well, that's good.
You know, he could tell when I was frustrated out there that he didn't have to say anything. Maybe 1 or 2 things, and that was it. And then I just go right back into my position and I go after it. He didn't say a whole lot.
There's no crying in track.
Well, I think I might have shed a few tears just between me and him. Just between me and him. No one else knew about it, though. And he would just hold my hand, and he'd tell me how proud he was of me and to just brush it off. You know, don't let anyone see me down. There's always eyes watching me and people looking up to me. He would always just encourage me, you know. He was just such a great guy. He's such a great guy.
That's great.
So, Tynita, after that freshman season that we discussed. You had a tremendous sophomore season where you again earned All-American status. That was the first time that had been done by a female in East Carolina history, and you set the indoor and outdoor high jump records. So just talk about after having such a stellar freshman season, kind of what you're just saying as far as staying hungry and continuing to progress throughout your career, and we'll talk about what you did as a senior here in a moment.
I think it was about around the time of 2012. I can't remember.
2010, 11.
Okay, yeah. So that's before there. Honestly, that year flew by so fast. I was actually dealing with some injuries during that time. When I set that indoor record, I actually stepped on a rusted nail at championships. I was running across from the high jump to the long jump without my shoes on, and I ran over by the thrower section, and the little boards that they base off, they kind of block off everyone. One of the boards had a nail sticking up, and I stepped on it, and it went straight through my heel, and I was bleeding. I was in pain, but you know what? I PR'd that day. I set a new personal record that day. My athletic trainer just kind of patted my heel up, and then I went out there to compete. Coach Blaney was like, "Do you still want to jump?" And I said, "Yeah, yes I do." I was not about to sit out for that. That adrenaline was just flowing through me so much that I didn't even feel the pain while I was competing until after I was done. Everything just kind of came down, and you feel all your aches and pains off the high. So yeah, that happened, and that qualified me for indoor. And that, every year I got a little bit closer and closer to first place for indoor championship, NCAA championship. My freshman year, what was that?
Your freshman year, you were in a three-way tie for 7th at the outdoors. Then in your sophomore season, you were 4th at the indoor championship. And your junior season, you were 5th at the indoor championship and earned All-American status for your 3rd consecutive season. And then your senior year, that's when you finished 2nd, of course, at the indoors.
You know what? I didn't even remember that 5th place, to be honest. That's so funny. I didn't even remember that, because I could have sworn if anybody asked me, I would have been like, "Oh yeah, I got 3rd place that year." Because in my mind, I literally every year got a little bit closer. I didn't know I took a few steps back one year. That's crazy. But yeah, I was just knocking away. I don't really know what to say.
Hey, you were focused on the process. You weren't focused on the...
Yeah, honestly. Yeah, I was dealing with some injuries, and part of it was my fault, because Coach Blaney, he tried to end our practices and say, "All right, time to shut it down." My stubborn personality, I said no. And I would take about 22 jumps in practice until I cleared a height. Then I'd go home. I said, "I'm not going home until I get over this bar." And I would wear my ankle into the ground because of that. And over time, I had to learn when to say no. I was just so determined to be out there with Shantae Lowe, America's best high jumper, and be out there with those other girls from, they bring over these foreigners to compete with their schools, and they're jumping like 192, 193. Sorry, I'm outside my neighborhood. And I'm just like, how in the heck am I ever going to get there? So, I've always just overtrained.
Do you kind of prepare yourself like over a certain period of weeks so that you'll peak at a certain time, or do you just...
I do now. Yeah, I definitely do now. I've learned a lot training with my husband and his coach.
Right.
My husband is an Olympian, and my coach has also trained and developed Olympians.
What's his name?
My husband?
Yes.
Roderick Townsend.
It's what now?
Roderick Townsend. Sounds like Roger, but it's Roderick, like Roderick. Roderick.
Gotcha. Okay.
Roderick Townsend, yep. And you can't miss him. He's literally the tallest athlete on the U.S. para athletic team.
Oh, well, that's
he
great.
He is 6'7".
Oh my
yeah.
goodness.
Big head, broad shoulders.
That ain't fair. That ain't fair.
But them two having into my life, yeah, it's definitely changed my game plan up.
Right, because you can't. There's no way you can jump your very best every meet.
And it took like you mentioned earlier, ending on that negative. I could not take rejection. It was very hard for me those first couple of years in college, learning to just deal with that. Okay, it's done and over. You can't do anything about it. Now, how are you going to respond to this? Are you going to walk with your head down, or are you going to go back to the drawing board and do what's best,
There you go.
So during that senior season, when you finished second in the indoors, jumping 1.90 meters, or right at 6'3", 6'2 3/4 to be exact, was that your favorite memory as a Pirate, or was it some other meet?
Now, are you talking about indoor championships?
Yes, I mean whether it's indoor, not necessarily your favorite indoor memory, but indoor or outdoor, just East Carolina track in general.
Yeah, actually, it is one of my favorites. It definitely is. Coach Kraft, we had a conversation before the meet, and he knows I love seafood. He knows I love crabs, and he said, Tynita, if you get top 4, I'm going to take you to Joe's Crab Shack. And I said, Coach, I'm going to get top 2. And I got top 2.
Well,
I said, you're aiming too low, Coach.
This is not a violation of NCAA policy. I'll just add that. So.
He said, we always went out to dinner to celebrate.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we never did it.
No.
And I still talk to him to this day. I say, you owe me some Joe's Crab Shack. He still hasn't got me my Joe's Crab Shack.
Yeah, Coach Kraft he took the team, and that was the post meet meal.
Yep, that's what it was. I don't even remember where that was.
But after East Carolina, and talk about what you've been up to. Obviously, you've been gone about 5-6 years now. So I know coming up, you're obviously still competing, because that's the reason we wanted to have you on right now here within the next couple weeks. Not even, you're going to be heading to Qatar to compete in the World Championships there. So tell us about that.
Well, I mean, I want to start from the beginning. So outdoor championship, I tore my ACL right there in NCAAs. Got second. I was aiming to win.
Which leg?
My jump leg. Yeah. I never got it surgically repaired. I actually have some micro tears in my meniscus and my other knee. And it took a long time to just come back from that, mentally, spiritually, and physically. All the above, check. And when it happened, I told Coach Blaney, I said, something's going on with my knee. It feels funny. And he talks to me for a little bit, calms me down, and he's like, okay, go out there and do your best. And I take my last jump, and I'm not getting off the ground at all. And I said, something's really wrong. I don't know what it is, but it feels really weird. And as soon as I'm done competing, I get second place. And, I'm not too happy about that. And I just look down at my knee, and it's swollen like a balloon. And, I get invited for NACAC's U23 with the U.S. team, and then Pan Am Festivals is when I got selected for after college. And I haven't even got my surgery yet. It swelled up like a balloon. I think I got third place out there. I don't even think I jumped very high at all. And So I ended up just, getting a doctor to check it out, and that's when I found out my ACL was almost completely torn.
Oh. Wow.
And I had developed arthritis in it after my surgery because I was not continuously moving it. I had to sling the splint on too long, so that developed pretty harshly. Couldn't walk upstairs, things like that, bend down. It was really, really painful.
People don't realize that your body, you got levers. Your toes to your foot, your foot to your leg, then your knee, then your hips, and so forth and so on. So when you hurt one of them,
you hurt the other.
And what it does is whatever's below it. So all you were jumping, you're just basically jumping with your hips.
Yeah, basically, and that was back when I used to tape my ankle.
Right.
Yep. So I already had a loosey-goosey ankle and a loosey-goosey knee, and so here I am out there competing on it like a dummy.
Well, you can't. You just have that drive that you want.
Yeah, I'm just stubborn. That's all it is.
Well, you gotta. So there's a difference between pain and injury.
That's true. And I had got my surgery done, and I told my doctor, I said I have to compete at USA Championships. This is 2015 outdoor championships. So I have to compete there. I'm living with my mom. I'm broke. And I don't have the greatest job. What am I going to do? I'm like reevaluating my life after this injury. Here I am, this college superstar, and now I can barely walk up the stairs.
And nobody cares. Nobody cares.
Nobody cares. Everyone's doubting me. They're like, "Well, what are your B, C, D, E plans now? Are you going to go back to school? Like, what are you going to do? You can't do this for the rest of your life." Everyone's questioning my dreams.
Yep.
And I tell my doctor, I said, "Could you please just shoot me up with some cortisone so I can go out there?" Worst idea ever. Worst. I didn't even know the history, research behind that. It actually deteriorates your tissue and bone.
They've done that. Now I'm 63, and I can assure you, don't do it.
Right. So he did it, and I went out there and got 5th place after 5 months of only having 5 months of surgery, right post-surgery. And he shot me up with some cortisone, and I went out there, and I had a bad day, but to everyone else, it looked like a good day. And I went home with a nice little check. But I still wasn't happy, still living with my mom. I wanted to have a little more independence. So I called up my high school 10th grade science teacher, who's always been an advocate of my career and me just as a human being. And him and his wife, they live out in Florida. And I call them, and I'm crying on the phone, and I'm like, "I'm sorry, but I have a question to ask you. Is it okay if I move down there with you guys and train for the 2016 Olympics?"
Oh, wow.
And what they say, what comes out of his mouth is like the most compassionate thing anyone's ever said to me. And he literally said, "Me and my wife have been thinking about you. We wanted to ask you if you wanted to come move down here with us and train for 2016.
That's the
Can you believe that?
That is.
I was like, this is insane. Like the heavens opened for me.
That is
I pack my bags and I tell my mom I'm moving. I'm leaving DC. I go train there down in Florida. So I emailed the South Florida head coach By, and I asked him if I can come train out there and volunteer coach so I can use his facilities. And that's what I'm doing at the time. I'm training. I'm working retail at the time, and I meet my husband.
And things that are happening. If it's too coincidental to be coincidental, then it's got to be something. And if you then you know exactly what I'm talking about.
That's what Coach Ruff always said, right, Terry?
That's where I got that from, my friend.
Too coincidental to be coincidental.
Exactly. And the good Lord He just knew exactly what I needed in my life at this time. And I was recovering from heartbreak. My college sweetheart broke my heart, and I'm dealing with the injury, and I'm just so depressed. I've lost about 20 pounds at this time.
Pile it on. Just pile it on me. Just
piling it on me. Just sticking a knife. Couldn't get any worse. So this was definitely a season of healing and preparation for what was to come. And I met my husband, and he came out there, and we had a little training session together, and it was magical, honestly. I'll never forget it. We just clicked so well. I didn't want another long distance relationship. I didn't have a training partner, and so I just decided to kind of pack my bags up and move out to Arizona with my husband after 3 weeks of knowing him. I fell in love with him pretty fast, and honestly, till this day, I feel like he's the reason why I'm still continually doing track. He truly believed in me. He saw that I was special. He saw my talent, and he's just also a God-fearing man. And
well, you have another fan. I can tell you that right now. I'm just great. This is a great story.
There's so much more to it. I just don't want to talk your heads off, but he was like my knight in shining armor.
We need a part 2.
Yeah. This guy, I'm looking at him like he's got it all together, and he wants to be with me, And he's just like encouraging me and helping me just build my confidence back and my peace, and it truly helped me. Just helping me just reinvent myself. And then we end up finding this homeopathic doctor who does PRP injections, and I end up going through like several series of these injections that literally almost completely healed my knees. I got my ankle injected near my foot. I had a few micro tears there. I still deal with that every once in a while, but I literally thought I could never bounce back.
Well,
no pun intended, but
it's a good thing you weren't a triple jumper.
Yeah, triple jumpers, man, they have it tough. They really do. It's really hard on the joint, especially at those angles. But it took a long time for me to get that pop back. That feeling when you're just tired after a long session of weights and you can barely get off the ground, or hurdle hops or something. I couldn't jump off the ground. I did not feel like myself. It took years, and I just went back to the doctor over and over. Shout out to Dr. Belt. She's like this dad. Okay, I can't curse, but she's so awesome. She's this roller derby athlete, and she literally injects herself whenever she has a hard fall. And I said to myself, okay, this woman knows athlete. She knows my mindset already because she has the same mindset.
There you go.
And I started noticing that, my pain was going away and things like that. And so, over time, my husband and I, just during the off season at Northern Arizona University, I would just train with the athletes. I hit the weight room nice and slow, kind of build that strength over again, and kind of get out there the best I could. But I was never truly where I wanted to be, but it was literally like I was still kind of hanging on. And then as soon as I got enough rest, I was able to build that strength, and I knew I was back. I think I knew I was back to myself, or as my husband would say, the new Ty. Probably in last year. I knew I was back to myself last year.
So what got you to the meet to make the team for the Worlds?
So USA Championships, was you had to get top 3 plus the standard. Right. And only 2 of the jumpers got the standard, and then it was me. I got 3rd place. Wow. And I also got a season's best. I jumped 192, so that's about almost 6'4", right below it. And I haven't jumped that since college. And I mean, that was like 2013. Right. Wow. It was in a long, long time. That's that day, it was just the right day, right time. And I think even my opponents were more happy than me. I mean, I was kind of in shock when it happened.
So what's your plan? I'm sure you're on a training schedule at this point. So when are you going over to?
I'm actually leaving this Thursday on the 20th, I think. Yeah. So I'm going to kind of break my travel day up into 2 days. I'm going to stay the night in London, and then I'm going to go over to Qatar.
Good. And USA, they're taking care of you at this point.
I had a massage therapist ask me at USA Championships. They was like, "How often do you get any treatment?" I said, "Twice a year, indoor championships and outdoor championships." I said, "You guys have the best care, and when I come here, I get here early enough to get in the medical tent and just get as much treatment as I possibly can, because I'm a part-time massage therapist, and I'm giving other people all this, release and pain and tension, but I don't really get it myself. So, I go straight from work straight to practice, and there are days where I don't really have any recovery in between. I'm going into my sprint workouts feeling achy because I had this huge bodybuilder guy on my table, and I have to put some elbows through his back. And it's man, I tell you, those, and I think about those Europeans, how they just kind of got it. They got it good. I think a lot of Americans, they kind of, at my level, the in-betweeners, the middlemen that don't really have a training group or, any really financial support, you kind of got to fit in where just get in where you fit in. And for most of us, we're working part-time jobs just to sustain our living.
But then all these people want y'all to be successful.
Yeah, and I think that's another reason that holds us back as American jumpers is a lot of us are kind of in between. It's such a hard event on the body that we go through ups and downs so often. Mm-hmm. It's not an instant gratification type of event. Jumps just isn't. You'll feel great one day and go out there and do crappy, and then feel crappy and go out there and do great. And I will attest to that, because right before 2016, I jumped 6'2", 189, and my knee was swollen like a balloon once again, and I didn't even feel my body go over the bar. It just kind of happened. And I felt it was a bad day, but a good day.
What's funny about that? I'm 6'1", Tynita, so you're basically jumping over me. That's just amazing.
Oh yeah, you're easy to jump over.
No, I'm easy.
Now that I'm coming in at 6 feet.
No, I'm about your starting height.
Oh yeah, I can easily just kind of scissor you.
I can't jump over. I barely jump over a pizza box. I've got a pizza box staring in front of me right now. I can jump over that. That's about it.
That's funny. Yeah. So I mean, when I was in Belarus when my husband told me to check my email, and I already knew what it was. I just knew it. He sent me all these heart kissy faces. Check your email.
Oh, gosh.
And it was right before I competed. And what they do is they take top 32 to World Championships. And I was 27th in the world with 192.
Oh, God.
And the only person that was able to kind of knock me out of that process was my friend Amina Smith. At this meet, we only had 8 attempts to jump. So we kind of had to, it was a weird thing. But it was really fun. We only had 8 attempts
Wow.
to jump as high as we possibly could. So I had to come in at 6 feet and go from there.
Wow.
And my friend, my teammate, she came in a height lower than that, and she thought she had one more jump to clear 193. And if she would have made it, I would not be going to this world championship team.
That close.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so think about it. Whoever's 33 don't make it.
Wow.
Yeah. She thought she had one more jump, but she had already had all 8 attempts.
Oh man.
Yeah, and I thought to myself, like, wow. That didn't even dawn on me until after the meet when we were done. I was like, she almost knocked me out of this chance. I don't even think she really knows.
Wow.
Right. So Tynita, how can people follow you? We want to watch you. Is there a way that we can watch the World Championships? So how does that work?
Oh man, I mean, I'm always posting on Instagram and Twitter. So those are my main platforms that I use. I post a lot to my Instagram story, so you can follow me at Kid Dynamic on Instagram. So it looks like it says Kiddynamic, but it's Kid Dynamic, and you'll find that it's me. It has my picture and everything. And for Twitter, my handle is called Flying Stallion. But
all right.
So I created Flying Stallion. Little story about that, because Coach Blaney used to call me a racehorse, and he always used to tell me that you can't keep throwing me into the race over and over, so you have to sit me out, And just me as a high jumper, I kind of put those two together, Flying Stallion, and I created that.
It sounds like Tynita too. By the way, if you didn't notice, you have a new coach in Terry Gallaher. He'll always be there for you.
Oh.
I want to keep in touch with you for sure. I really do.
Yeah, we
Dr. Terry Gallaher, sports psychologist.
Oh, who is? Say that again?
That's me.
Yeah, I was.
Are you a sports psychologist?
I was joking. I was joking. But hey, as a coach, you got to be a sports psychologist. You know that.
Yeah.
You know that.
Oh man, yeah, you really do. Especially with this generation nowadays. You're the parent, teacher, friend, coach, guidance counselor.
Everything. We're looking forward to it, and I tell you what, we're very excited, and we're pulling really hard for you for the Olympics.
Thank you guys.
And then I'm praying that you, selfishly, I'm going to the Olympics in 2024, so I'm praying really hard that we'll take one Olympics at a time, but LA is going to be great.
Well, I will say this. I will try out for 2024, but I'm gonna try to have a few babies.
All right.
My husband really wants kids, and we're waiting till around about a little after the Olympics to have a family.
Put it on your schedule.
Yeah, you can do it.
Thank you.
Do it. Well, Tynita, thank you so much for coming on. It's been awesome. One of the best, I think, Bubba, one of the best interviews we've ever had. We appreciate you. I think you need to start your own podcast. You can do your own show.
Oh, I've enjoyed talking to you. I've enjoyed this very much because, like I said,
so did I.
Not many people love track like we do. And
oh, absolutely. Hey, man, you know who the track fans are out there. You'll spot them.
Oh, yeah. Well, you got one here. So.
No doubt.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, guys. It's
absolutely
a pleasure.
Awesome.
If somebody
working hard for you.
If somebody wanted to help you, how could they maybe donate something to help you with, or do you do that?
What do you mean help me? Financially or as in coaching?
No, financially or anything really, but financially.
Oh man, honestly, I'm talked to my agent. He's the best person. His name is Joseph Codrington. Okay. He has an Instagram. If you guys follow me or email me, or I can text you his information, he's the guy to go to. He's a great guy. Very down to earth, and he definitely helps me with that kind of stuff. So,
but it will go to you.
It will go to me, yes, sir.
If we send it to him, it will go to you.
Yeah, because the way that I do it, I use simple solutions like Cash App.
So it's not like Don King. You're not donating to Don King, is what she's saying. It's going to go directly.
Cash App and Venmo.
That's great.
Well, like I was saying, we're pulling hard for you and looking forward to the World Championships. We'll definitely follow you on Instagram and Twitter. And Bubba, I know that we will post that on, we can do that on social media, right? So people can follow her and certainly with Facebook or different things. So thank you for everything. All the best to your husband. And definitely we'll look forward to pulling hard for a fellow pirate here pretty soon.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Wow, what a conversation that was with one of East Carolina track and field's all-time greats, Tynita Butts. Best of luck to her as she represents our nation by competing for Team USA in the World Championships in Qatar in a little over a week. Remember, follow us on social media, on Twitter at TheSportsOBJ, on Instagram at The Sports Objective, like and follow us on Facebook, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, be sure to join our new Facebook group, The Pirates Cove, where the Pirate Nation talks ECU athletics on Facebook. It launched on September 17th and already has nearly 500 members. That concludes this edition of the Sports Objective Podcast. Until next time, go Pirates.
You've been listening to the Sports Objective Podcast. Join us next time as the guys will be objective, and the objective is sports.